Well, good morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folani. Today we're coming back home, so to speak. You know, everywhere is home for us because we broadcast around the country, as you well know. But Lagos, southwest of the country, is where this studio is beaming from. And in that relation, it's in Lagos State. So we'll take an important thing that's going on in Lagos, talking about transportation, strategic transportation master plan that has just been launched. And I imagine just about everybody living in Lagos is going to be interested in that everybody actually uses the transportation system. Now, who better to come and talk to us about this but a person who has been through, well, how do I put it? There will be waves, there will be regimes. It goes back to Fashola's time. As you know, there's great continuity in Lagos State. So a person who has been in that system for quite a while is our guest this morning, and he's the special advisor to the Lagos State Governor on transportation. Not for the first time, by the way, but I'm talking about Honorable Sola Giwa, special advisor to the Lagos State Governor on transportation. And he's, I say honorable because he was in the Lagos State legislature, and well, he's come out of the Lagos State legislature. Maybe he'll talk about that, maybe not. Maybe he's more concerned with what the current assignment is. But I say a fine morning to you, Honorable Sola Giwa.
Good morning, Uncle Yoru. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's our pleasure to.
I'm actually excited to be
here. Great. Because people will want to know what exactly is going on. First of all, I had said that you've been in this system, especially as it relates to transportation, for quite a while, before you went on to the legislature, the state legislature, and then you came out of the state legislature and are back in the system. Tell us about that. Where did you start, and what is it between you and transportation in Lagos State?
Oh, that's a very funny one. I think it's just preordained. It was preordained. So I started as special assistant to the governor of Lagos State then, Fashola, as special assistant on LASMA.
That's Governor 1? Now, I'm going to be counting them.
Governor 1. That's true. So after that, the second time of BRF, and then I became senior special assistant on transportation. No?
Okay.
And then from there, I was called upon by my people, Lagos Island constituency, to serve in the Lagos State House of Assembly. That was during Ambodi's government. And then this present governor actually appointed me immediately, came back as senior special assistant to him on Central Business District. Okay. And that was actually focused on transportation as well.
Okay.
And then 9 months into his administration, he also offered me the opportunity to serve as a cabinet member, as a special advisor, transportation. And it was malevolent again to say, okay, this boy come, and this time you're going to finish this 4th term with me as special advisor, transportation. So that's it. And then being in that position has made me also decided, okay, it seems this is your way. So right now I have a master's in transportation, apart from my MBA. I'm presently doing my PhD in transportation.
Wow.
So
isn't that something?
It's my calling now.
I guess it is, and that seems to be something that's going on in Lagos. You find
accidental transport planner.
Yeah. You find that a lot of officials in Lagos, who are so fortuitously placed, what happens is that they tend to grab hold of it with both hands, go into academic studies, and you find that a lot of people that you didn't originally know as taking an academic interest, high academic honors, have gone on to have that. Dr. Okoefa, for instance.
Yes, that's my mentor.
Well, he comes to mind, and I'm sure there are others. Okay, on to the work at hand. How important is this strategic transportation master plan to you? And people might think that, what kind of a question is that? What do you mean, how important? If it wasn't important, government wouldn't be coming to it. But I asked the question against the backdrop of, for a long time, people in Lagos who have lived in Lagos have thought that, the public transportation system is a quote-unquote mess. That government is now looking at it. Is it that government itself has been observant, or is it that the cries and perhaps the attitude of citizens of Lagos State to the public transportation system in Lagos State, where if you can afford it, you just go with some you don't go with the public. You grab hold of a lag ride or whatever it is you can afford to grab hold of, but you know that your worst option, almost, and I hope you will disagree with me that it's not as bad as that, is the public transportation system in Lagos.
Well, the question is importance. So I want to emphasize that it is important, and I'll take you back to what this governor is doing.
Okay.
He has what is called a Teams Plus agenda. In the first time, it was Team Plus. In this second time, it's Team Plus agenda. And start with T, THEMES. What does T stand for? Transportation and Traffic Management. That is to tell you how much critical it is to this governor and this present government. Okay. So the governor is a very deliberate one. He's conscious of what we want to do. We understand that Lagos State is a mega city by population. We want to take it to become a smart city. So transportation is very, very...
What population are you working with? Because every time I hear that, I've been hearing mega city since Fashiola's time. So what population are you working for?
We're over 20. Lagos? So any city state that is over 20 million is a mega city.
Okay.
So let's start from that.
And so Lagos is definitely over 20 million.
Of course, we are over 20 million. So and we have to plan for the people. So this is it. Because we know that Lagos do not have a border. We don't give people visa. So what successive government has been doing is to try and always build on what the past government has done. And that's what this governor is presently doing. You understand what I'm trying to say? Because our success is our nemesis, or our albatross.
Okay, sort of like
yes.
A victim of your own success.
Exactly. So the more successful you are, the more people are driven to Lagos. And we'll have to cater for them, because without transportation, proper transportation, of course there's always been transportation. People can move with their feet to point A to point B. You can use the waterways, you can use the vehicle, bicycle, or whatever. But as a state that is deliberate in its purpose, a purposeful government that wants to deliver on its mandate to its people, we always sit back. And that's what led to the transportation policy.
Okay.
And it's not new. It's just a review of what. So every 5 years. So we have a 25-year plan for Lagos. And every 5 years, as new things emerge, new trends emerge, we sit down, we'll review it and say, this is the way to go. And if you are seeing what we're doing in Lagos, you see that the governor has invested so much in the rail transport. Because we see that to be able to move people, you need to move them in mass. So the rail transport is a mass transport movement. You see now, we have seen investment right from Ashuaju's period into the BRT. It's also a mass movement. You can see investment in the waterways. So the ferries that we are building, we are building in Lagos. I had to put that. The ferries that are being built in Lagos are 40, 50 passenger capacity. So what we are trying to do is say that people must be moved en masse. And it makes it easier. It makes it safer, convenient. It's even better for the climate. You understand what I'm trying to say? That? So less vehicle on the road. Because I always tell people, look at Lagos. The average vehicular density of Lagos State, I can break it down for you. It's over 400. Okay. How do I mean? For every kilometer of road in Lagos, there are over 400 vehicles. What is the average of the nation? About 30.
Okay.
So you can see the wide. So Lagos is different. So Lagos stands on its own. It requires purposeful leadership, critical thinking that will go ahead and solve that issue. And that's what we're trying to do.
You know, it's interesting that you put that in context. The fact that when we're talking about transportation this morning, particular focus is the Lagos, restructures, commercial bus operations. Yes. You brought in the waterways, the rail systems. That's part of the general transportation. But this time now, it's like you're zeroing in on a particular aspect, which is the commercial bus operations, and that directly comes onto the roads.
Yes.
And you're taking a pilot scheme to test things out. Did I get all of that?
No, you're very correct. So
that part of it. Okay.
So let me break it down.
Yes, the pilot part especially.
So before the pilot part, we have to talk about the policy.
Okay.
So our goal, our drive in Lagos in the transportation system is integrated intermodal transport system.
Okay.
How do I mean?
That's something of a mouthful.
Integrated,
intermodal.
Intermodal.
Okay.
So there are different modes. Of course, I mentioned rail, I mentioned the waterways, and I mentioned the roads. You get it now.
Yes.
So how the three of them can be interconnected, integrated. So we are integrated exactly. So if you want to take this, say for example, you are going to say from mile 2, you get on a train, you come to CMS. From CMS, you get on the BLT system. You get on a ferry service, ferry that takes you from CMS to Aja. If you get to Aja, you can get on our first and last mile bus and take you to where you're going.
And all of this needs to be planned.
Exactly. So that's what the policy is talking to. Efficient, safe transportation policy. That's what we're talking about.
So even though we're talking about the roads,
I'll come to the road.
Commercial.
Yes.
It's not just the bus stops.
No.
It's more.
It's part of it.
It's part of it, but it's not all of it.
It is not all of it. So it is a part of that transportation policy that we're talking about right now. That is commuter buses. That is bringing the informal transportation sector onto the formal. And I'll explain to you.
Thank you very much. Because it's important to get this particular aspect that the plan is going on as you've been explained to us in the past few minutes, but it's now bringing in the informal private sector to be integrated as opposed to be operating as a fleggling, outside of the system.
Exactly.
No. Come on board. You've got
Come on board so we can plan. We know the numbers that we have. We know the numbers that we need. Because what we do is that at the end, at Lamata Ministry of Transportation, we do carry out a lot of studies. And then if you don't carry out study without data is actually money right now. So without data, you can't plan. So we have the data. Because we have the data, we've conducted this study.
Do you really have the data?
Oh,
because
we do
oftentimes we have commentators say that the problem with Nigeria is a dearth of data.
I can tell you in Lagos State, we have the data. So what we are doing, you bring in all the components together. You register your vehicle, we have the data. You go to MVA to get your number plate, we have the data. You go to Lasri, we have the data. That's the Lagos State Drivers Institute. You go to VIS office, we have data. And these data are interconnected. And we can see all. Lamata also have all this data. And that is what we are using for the planning. So now let me go back to where. So we know that for a while, what we have observed is that a lot of people, you just wake up in the morning, you go and buy one bus, and you become a transporter.
That's right.
And that's what has been happening. So that way, we can actually, as a state, we can plan. So we need to be able to plan for you, to be able to move from point A to point B seamlessly. That's the most important about transportation. It's not about moving, it's predictable transportation. Before I get to that, let me bring you something. Everybody say there's so much traffic in Lagos. I say yes. It's okay to have traffic. Because you have traffic, it means that there's productivity in Lagos State. There's commercial activities going on in Lagos State that the government have been able to provide safe business environment for Lagosians. That's why people are traveling to Lagos. Okay. And then you see, like you see in all commercial cities in the world, in New York, in Joburg, name it, you will always find that. But the most important for us in the ministry is to make sure that people move in a safe, comfortable, timely, and environmentally friendly mode. That is, you move from one point. You can plan. I'm going to Surulere from here. I know that it's going to take me 25 minutes. That's it, so you can plan your time. If you cannot plan your journey, then that is an issue.
Where do you think Lagos is at the, if you take what you've just said, this objective on a scale of 100, what mark do you think we're at now that you are working on? 20%, 40%, 60%, 80%?
I can tell you by the time the red line comes on board in the next few months, fully on board, it's already there. I can say that will have been about 60%.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And working.
Yes, and working. If you notice, when we did the Blue Rail, people normally rush the Blue Rail. Now they are certain of that this train will come every 10 or 15 minutes. So you wait. You don't need to rush. Our BRT buses, people don't rush it. What is it called? Our ferries, people don't rush it. They are constant. So that is why you will see the only buses that are being rushed are either the Korokpis or the Danfos.
That's right.
And that's the one we are now we want to talk about.
Okay, because Lagos State also is involved in the Korokpis.
Okay. So we have what is called the first mile, last mile buses.
Yes.
And I'll explain it to you.
Okay.
And that feeds into what we want to talk about.
Okay.
So all we've been talking about is just general things. So we have the first mile, last mile. And I'll explain what it means to you. I live in Magodo. And I am going to, say, mile 2. Or I'm going to Oshodi. Mm-hmm. What I should do is I should get onto those small buses that will pick me up right from inside Magodo and drop me somewhere around Alausa, where I will get on a bigger bus that will now take me to where I'm going. You get it now?
Yes.
So the smaller bus, that's the first mile, last mile. And you can see them. That's the one you see white and blue, those small ones. Yeah. Now, what we want to do is that we know a lot of people are buying these Korokbe and Danfos. So we say, okay, let us do it like this. If you want to be a transport operator in Lagos, number one, you have to come and register. Mm-hmm. So how many people are we going to register? That's a big one. So we say, so the first thing we're going to do is that come and register first and foremost as a transport operator.
Okay.
So
Which is not the case as we speak.
As we speak.
Some investors, as you said, have just bought those vehicles and
they put them on the road.
Without registering.
No, they register with VIs, they register the vehicle.
Yeah.
What we're saying is that you come and you come into the formal sector. You register with Lamata and the Ministry of Transportation. Lamata is actually the regulator of bus service in Lagos State. They even regulate our own FBSL buses. So you go to Ministry of you go to Lamata and register as an operator. There are criteria. You must have a minimum number of vehicles. You must have a stacking yard. And all the vehicles will have to pass the VIS tests. Oh, that's what we're doing now.
Oh, dear.
All the drivers will need to be registered and they will be trained in Lasdri. If you have a faded plate number, you have to go to MVA to change it before you can even start. So now,
the single vehicle operator right now,
you have to go under someone.
You have to find someone to be under.
Find an approved operator and go under that person. And that person will stand for you. So you make sure that you go undertake all that. And then what that is going to take away is those vehicles. So we are piloting with Lekki-Ajah axis because that's the fastest developing area in Lagos State. So you can imagine, if you see the traffic in that place, you'll see that it is caused by buses staying not in bus stops, dropping and picking passengers, and also not even waiting for traffic light. Now,
because
we know the driver.
No, I beg your pardon. You're so familiar with it, and maybe a lot of viewers are also familiar with it. People didn't know that particular axis, the Lekki-Ajah, and trying to get out of Lagos or enter into beyond Ajah, is horrendous right now, and you've just explained the
Yes, so we understand the problems. So critically thinking, back in the ministry, we looked at it, and this is what can solve it. And like I said, it's a pilot. We will escalate it to other traffic routes. So what am I saying? So we have a transport operator A and B, Mr. A and Mr. B. So I have money to buy Korokbe. Instead of me to go and I'll go under that operator, and then my vehicle will go through checks. The driver will go through checks, and we'll have what is called a validator. So even our cowrie system will come in. You get it now.
That's an e-payment.
The e-payment aspect. So we don't want people just jumping on the road, want to collect money. Even the union dues we paid. And that's the most critical. Coincidentally, I'm the one in charge of union activities in Lagos State. Okay. So it makes it easy for me to work with them. You understand it now? So that's what we're doing. So every bus will have a tag. The driver will know. So last mile do not need to run after them. VIS do not need to run after them. And if there's an infraction, for example, all we do, like we do for all the Lamata buses and enforcement, if anyone commits an offense, we get the evidence, we send to Lamata, they deduct from them. If that driver needs to be sanctioned,
when you say deduct, you're talking about the fine now.
The fine. So we give them a fine.
And it can get serious, more serious. Since they deduct, I was going to say, if you were to ignore any such refine, but there's no option.
The owner will not allow the driver to let him start losing money from fines.
Oh, okay.
You get it now. And so, for example, if you drive one way, it's not just penalty now. The penalty say the law says that we impound your vehicle and you don't get it again.
Okay.
You can imagine.
Okay.
So what we are trying to do is that area, that route, all the Korokbes on that route From CMS to Obalin, from CMS, so what we have is we have CMS and Obalin as the starting route, and they end up somewhere on Eleko, Aja Eleko. So on that express road, Korope would not be on that road again.
It's not supposed to be.
No, it would not be again from October 1st. So what we are doing with the Korope is that we are now infusing them with our first mile, last mile buses.
Okay.
So that will be going into the inner roads along those axes. You know, that stretch has so much in there. So we infuse them with already plans. So we have a plan for that already. It's just that the buses that we have is not enough. So now we are putting those buses. We'll check them that they conform. They can conform to our first mile buses that we. So we set the standard. This is what the bus, it must not be a smoky vehicle. You understand it now? It must be a vehicle where people can see. And we know what I told them when we had this meeting. I said the vehicle that we...
Okay, you're talking about the stakeholders.
The stakeholders meeting that we had, yes. They said it's a vehicle that you, the chairman of the union, can put a bus that you can put your child and kids, say go.
Okay, that
is a vehicle that high...
kind of assurance.
Yes, that's the vehicle. So a vehicle that I will not be happy to put my children in, that vehicle will not allow them.
You're talking about the concerns expressed by the unions at this meeting that was held.
Yes, actually they did sign. They did agree that it's time we change things.
Okay, because I was going to ask, how are the unions reacting to all of these changes?
In fact, we signed a communique, and they agreed to everything. So it was not a one-day thing. We've started this interaction since last administration. So we're just getting this. So we've been working behind the scenes. So now we are getting to the implementation stage.
Okay.
So right now we have a timeline on when we'll start enforcement. And when I say enforcement, we ought to start seeing them by next month we start seeing that change, that integration. So the only
it's taking off next month.
It already started.
Okay.
On the 1st, yesterday.
Okay, yes.
So they've started, we've received a lot of applications from operators.
Okay, that is
so in the next 2 weeks,
process of registration.
Yes, of operators first.
Okay.
So the operator must have everything. We'll have his company account, he'll have some payments to make, and then he will have his stacking area. Another thing we know is that people buy buses and they don't have where to put them.
Okay, you've referred to stacking area a number of times here, and this is not the port. So I was a bit surprised that stacking area as opposed to garages, or is it the same? Is it technical?
No. If you have 20 buses, you can't go out. Garages is not where your buses sleep. You should have somewhere you keep them.
So that is properly referred to a stacking.
Yes.
A stacking area
as his own personal place where he keeps them when they are not working.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
And everybody has to provide their own?
You have to provide. That's why we said this. That's why you are an operator that has the capacity to have 40 vehicles, 50 vehicles. And if I'm going to bring my vehicle to you as someone that has only one, that person gets to pay you for registering with him.
Okay.
And then you deal with the state. You are the one we deal with. That company is the one we deal with.
So that is supposed to be the home of that vehicle when it is not.
Like what we see now, you just see them parked on the road everywhere. We don't want it. It won't work. It won't work.
One moment, please. Good morning, Mr. George. Thank you for calling in.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Thank you, sir.
And good morning to the special advisor.
Yes.
Uncle Yori, on the average, the Lagos State government is trying on transportation, I must admit. You don't see that standstill for 15 minutes or so on traffic anymore. They are doing a great job, especially on the rail. But I have an advice for the governor. The blue line and the red line have two phases. Have their second phase on construction right now. I would advise the government to concentrate on completing phase 2 of the blue line and phase 2 of the red line instead of combining all these with Fourth Mainland Bridge. The governor has about 3 years to go. If I were him, leave the Fourth Mainland Bridge for the next governor. complete phase 2 of Blue Line and phase 2 of Red Line and ensure that they are operational at your time of exit. You will see that from all indications, the train system is a game changer for transportation in Lagos State. If you concentrate on that, you will see that at the end of the day, there may be no need for a fourth mainland bridge. That's the way I see it. It's just a suggestion.
Okay.
Good morning.
Well, thank you very much for calling in. And he went to a more sort of overarching question. Yeah.
So basically, this government, led by Mr. Babajide Olusola, is a deliberate, I keep using the word deliberate government. We don't bite more than we can chew. And for every project that this governor embark on, there's a beginning and there's an end on the table already. Okay. And the financing is always there. Okay. You understand it now? The governor said he's going to do the 4th Mainland Bridge. He has the capacity to do it, and he will do it. He's a Mr. Talk and Do, and he will finish it. As I'm talking to you right now.
That is, the state has the capacity.
Yes, the state has. And then the leadership matters.
Of course it is.
Leadership matters.
Yes.
And we've enjoyed a very good leadership from this governor. As I'm talking to you now, the Commissioner for Transportation and MD Lamata are right now in Mile 2. And they are, yes, so the exchange at Mile 2, that they're just kicking off the construction of that exchange in Mile 2 for the buses, for the train. Mm-hmm. So that is going on. The second phase, he will finish. He has promised he will do it. And there's nothing. If you notice, there's no abandoned project in Lagos State. Okay. He is a deliberate governor that monitors whatever it is. He said he wants to do something. So there's a system in place that checks everything we want to do.
So you're speaking to the fear that was expressed by that caller.
You can be rest assured. You can be rest assured that the governor
you don't want to bite off more than we can chew.
Yeah,
you're saying that's not going to happen.
That is not going to happen.
It's all strategic.
It's just strategic.
All well planned. One more. Good morning, Mr. Yakub. Thank you for calling in.
Yeah, good morning, sir.
Thank you for calling. Good morning.
Good morning to you. I have some questions for your guest.
Okay.
Number one, because I listened to him very well when he was saying that a head meeting with the union and all that, they were signed the letter of memorandum and all that concern how this thing is going to work.
That they're all on board.
Yes.
Everybody's on the same page.
Yeah, sincerely, I can tell you for free. You see, some of us that we live in the midst of our people, we enter public bus if we don't go with our own personal car. I can tell you for free, the people that the government are sitting down with, 55% of them, they don't hold a car. They don't hold the bus as rather. See, sincerely, your guy sitting down there this morning, I want you to know, sir, with due respect, and then I would like you to tell us the truth, sir. You see, when the union, I'm talking about national union here, the people that are collecting money from all these yellow bus, one, the question is this: are they working for Lagos State government? That is number one. If yes, do you really know how much these people are make in a day? You know, I have reason saying this because we have brothers that into transport. And if they tell you how much they were paid from bus stop to bus stop a day, guys, with due respect, honorable, you will be so amazing that, so this guy are so, you know, there is a time, Lagos State says that the commercial bus pays some kind of amount of money for a day. It is a lie. These people are changing it.
Okay, so Mr. Yakub, what exactly is your concern that you would like Honorable Giwa to address? I hear you, sir.
Yes, Honorable Giwa, something happened, you know, so of recent.
What do you want him to? Okay.
Of recent, which is, I think, on Friday. A lot of car was taken from Oshodi. A lot of buses was taken, almost 150, if not 200. Okay. And then we were told, with our friend that are running these buses, that they asked them to go and bring 150,000 naira before they can be able to release their buses. Okay. Where are they going to get it from? If you want to take them into this system, how are they going to manage? Because some of them, their buses cannot even pass it.
Okay, we got you. Mr. Yakub, thank you very much for calling in, sir. You got it.
I get it. So, I think it's always good we put things in the right perspective.
Okay.
The National Union of Road Transport Workers, NURT, and Road Transport Employers Association of Nigeria are members of TUC and NLCs. In fact, presently, the treasurer of TUC, the national treasurer of TUC, is the national president of Road Transport, as I'm talking to you. The NURT are members of the NLCs. In fact, when we suspended their activities in Lagos State, you remember the TUC had to put it in their demands to be able to deal with the federal government that we have to unban them. That is how, you understand? So it's a fundamental thing. They have their rights enshrined in the Constitution as a union. Their dues do not concern us. That's one. They collect their dues from their customers. But what we have been doing, and this is where we are going, is that if you notice, they do not collect union dues from all those registered buses, all those formal buses.
Okay.
You understand that? They also have.
Okay. They have their own.
They have their own. That's well registered. Now, the ones that are informal are the ones that they are collecting. And I told you something. I said in the collections of in their payments, the union dues will also be deducted. So you won't see them doing that on that axis again. So they collect their union dues right from the operators and they send it to their account. You understand where we're coming from? So that will reduce what is
exchange of
exactly running after those vehicles to collect money from them. That will definitely take it away. And you will see, like I said, it's a pilot one. Once we're successful here, we're taking it down to the next route, which is actually the Abeokuta Expressway. That's one. Two, you refer to the operation that was carried out on Friday by task force. Yes, what has been happening is that we keep telling them this is where you are supposed to stay. And what do? They overstretch themselves. And this is the reason. And I'll explain it to you. And that's what we are trying to solve with this. If you notice, sir, you are driving from, say, Oshodi, you are going to Mushin. There will be so many buses at Oshodi bus stop. You will get to Idioro, there will be plenty of people there, and there are no buses to take them. You will get to Mushin, you will see plenty of people there. You will now go another 2 bus stops. You know what is happening? Yes. It's because they are not following the right model.
Talking about the quality of the road. That's
a different. I'm trying to tell you that you will get to bus stop, there will be people, you get to a particular bus stop. It's because they do not even understand. That's what we are trying to resolve with this. We know the needs of these roads because we carry out scientific inquiry or investigation or whatever you want to put it. So we know the roads of each route. We know the number of vehicles that is required on each route. So, for example, now all the first mile, last mile cannot go more than 9 kilometers.
Okay.
If we have to be a first mile.
If we're going to be operating properly within the system.
Your route cannot be more than 9. So you cannot be a Korokwe and move from, say, CMS and say you are going to Aja.
That's not allowed.
That's not. So for you to be able to get into a major, that is the mass transit, you understand it now, the higher capacity buses, you must move at more than 10 kilometers. The route must be more than 10 kilometers. You get what I'm trying to say now. So for you to be able to move, say, for example, from Oshodi, I've told them, maybe I should say this now. All those buses that are moving from Oshodi going to Aja, I've directed last month to start arresting them.
Okay, because it's wrong.
It is wrong. And the only one that can go from Oshodi to Aja or to CMS is to Aja are the ones that can carry minimum of 30 people.
Okay.
You understand it now?
Indeed.
So that would take more vehicles off the road. You can imagine the small danfos take 15, 12 passengers. And then I would have one bus that would take, say, 90 people at a time. So that will make it easy. And those small ones can now pick people along the buses, along those bus stops. So people will not be stranded at the bus stops. So that is exactly what we are doing with this new plan.
Complies. This is a system that should be seamless.
Oh, we are a serious government. Okay. If you don't comply, definitely we'll whip you in. Okay. Nobody's bigger than the government. I can say that. And people know me. When I say we'll do this, we'll do it. The track record is there.
Okay.
And I have the support of my governor.
What we're going to do is that we'll take a break now, and then when we come back, we'll also look at another aspect of this, which is the intention to put larger capacity buses on the road once all of this is sorted out. And of course, one bus being able to take the place of perhaps 8, 9, 10 Korokwe's